Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Monday Motivation. I'm your host, Daniel Krakowski, joined, as always, by my main man, Goran Vasovic.
What up, Daniel? What's going on, everybody?
We have a packed house today.
We have a super packed house. We can barely even move, and chairs are hidden stuff, so if you guys hear anything in the background, don't mind it.
If we were voting, we would have a quorum right now, but we are joined by intern Isaac. Say what's up.
What's up, guys?
And we have Stas Manchek from Keller Williams.
Hey, everyone.
So a very interesting kind of a podcast, and we do a lot of these Monday motivations that are impromptu, and we just freestyle it, you and I. But then, sometimes people get the courage to actually join us because it's full on for that 10, 15 minutes.
Because no one wants to really be around us, so they have to.
Right. Everybody closes their door, but we got Stas, and then we got my main Isaac, #intern Isaac, really just taking the reins and say, you know what? We're going to step up, we're going to do this, and we're going to contribute.
No question.
I know, and I love it. I think this is the first time that maybe we had 4 people doing a podcast as far as Monday Motivation goes.
Definitely not. We for sure
Really?
had, many times, but...
No way.
Yeah, like 2 times ago, but no big deal. We'll move on with our lives.
I'll have to review it.
But now we have a lot of different perspectives. For those of you who have seen Isaac on the vlogs, anywhere else, hopefully he'll be showing up more and more often. But young man of 18, super driven, super well motivated. And for those of you on the west side of the city, you've probably heard of Stas from just being out there killing the game consistently. So
sometimes.
Yeah. So what I want to get into today is get some outside perspective. We haven't really spoken to either of them yet, but
that's the whole point of the motivation.
Exactly.
We've had a limited contact with both of them, but they've both reached out and said, hey, I like what you guys are doing. How can we be a part of it? Which is it's kind of a topic of today's Monday Motivation too.
No doubt. So Stas, for you, when you're out there working, what do you find is your motivation? What do you draw from to continue to get out there grinding in what, despite the booming market, is also kind of a tough market at the same time?
Absolutely. And deep down, my motivation comes from, I have 2 kids, so leaving a legacy for them and going beyond what, financial things are right now,
right,
to going down to what can I leave my kids behind to remember me by.
Yeah.
And then also to go to my end game, which is to have a nonprofit, to do that, to change lives each and every day. So that's what keeps me motivated. And it also just being around like-minded people each and every day, just so you can work harder, smarter, and do better things and not have to fall on your face every time, because you can learn from people that have done it before.
Right. And speaking of that, I know, we just met a couple days ago, through a mutual friend, and you listened to some podcasts, but we talked about the importance of being, part of the right team or having the right people around you, and how that motivates a person to bigger and better things. And I think, what is that saying as far as you are the person you hang around?
Yeah, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, or your net worth is the average, whatever.
Right. So whatever that is, it's the 5 people that you hang out with. They should be, in your eyes, somebody that you look up to or somebody that you admire. That way, you can kind of elevate yourself up. So, you being, a real estate agent yourself, are you there lone wolfing it? Doing it on your own? Do you have a team? What are some of the things that basically have made you successful? And what do you crave, or what is needed for you to perform on a daily basis?
Well, far from successful yet. On the way there, on the journey.
Oh, come on.
So my wife has her license. She's had her license for years. She does buyers, and she works with sellers. So we work together at that point. But also, it's just watching what, people that are doing $100 million a year in production are doing and how they're changing the game today. The real estate game now is kind of like the Constitution. Everyone follows it from 100 years ago.
Yep.
But the people have changed, the times have changed, technology is different today than it ever has been. So it's jumping on those different forms of technology and going after what nobody else is doing in order to better serve your clients and to better serve yourself, to help you grow, in essence, of the real estate market and to get your name out there.
Right.
In order to serve your clients better, because you're doing things that everyone else is not doing.
Right.
But you're getting the attention of people where the younger generations are. Like Isaac. I'm sure Isaac doesn't know what, Napster is, which we grew up with Napster.
What? For real?
No.
Oh my God, I'm old.
So exactly.
Get out.
We grew up with this, so it's just the younger generations, the millennials that are going to buy houses now or take over their parents' houses, things along those sorts.
Yep.
Their attention is in completely different things. Like, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you have Musical.ly. You don't have a 3-ring binder with houses anymore. That just doesn't happen. So how do you stay ahead of the curve and ahead of the game in order to better serve the market and grow at the same time?
Right. So you use, and I've seen a couple of your social media posts on Instagram and stuff where you're more active than 90% of the agents out there, where you're trying to engage these new buyers, for example, using their medium and their technology, what they're using. Do you think that's a big part of your business and maybe a part of your future strategy and plan to actually keep using more of it versus the quote unquote old school way of marketing?
Absolutely. So social has become a huge platform, especially Facebook and Instagram. I mean, if you look at that and you look at how many people are actually on it that said that they would never be on it.
Yep.
I mean, I have clients.
Myself included.
Right. I mean, I have clients right now that are 67, 70 years old that have a Facebook account because they're looking at their grandkids' photos.
Right.
Well, at that same time, they can be looking at a house that's showing up on their news feed, that's sponsored or whatever on the feed.
Yep.
And that's where their attention is now, and they're going to click on that property that even if they're not looking, but they know somebody that is. So it's just about getting that marketing in front of these people that have never even looked at that platform in that sense.
Awesome. So I know you mentioned you and your wife are kind of a team or a duo. Is it just you two? And if so, when you get up, and how do you motivate each other? But then also, how do you, since you see each other every day, 7 days a week, how do you make it a kind of a successful partnership? Whereas, Daniel and I, we come in here and we part ways after we're done. We don't see each other all the time. So how does that dynamic work as far as your business and your motivation goes?
Well, right now, the home life, we have 2 toddlers, so we really don't see each other when we're there. The 1.5-year-old is on one end of the house and the 3.5-year-old is on the other end of the house. So, we try to keep it family at home and to be focused on the kids and everything about the home, and then to have certain times set up to where we talk about business, to where if she needs help, I need help, to where we can sit down and chat during business hours, just so that doesn't interfere with family life.
It's got to be super helpful, too, to have, something does come up last minute, to have someone else, to have your significant other understand, okay, I can step in here so you can go do a showing, or vice versa, because I know a lot of people definitely struggle with that kind of work-life balance a little bit, too. And
yeah, I was watching Grant Cardone, and he talks about,
shout out Grant Cardone.
Yeah, shout out Grant Cardone, not having a work-life balance, but on his growth con, he drew kind of like himself as a stick figure in the middle, and then made a circle around that, and everything that he does is just part of his life. There's nothing to balance out. It's just who he is, and really, it's just kind of, to me, it holds true for myself, because I was here like last night till like 9:30, and the whole balance of, was there a need for me to go home 5 hours before? Not really, because it's kind of, this is what I do and who I am, and if I want to do something else, I can, but it's just kind of part of your life. There's nothing, if you're trying to balance something out, I feel like it means that one part of your life that you're doing is really not what you really want to be doing, so why even do it?
No question. Yeah. So I wanted to go into, do we have anything on Isaac documented, recorded yet. The story of how we met him on tape.
Well, that's what I was gonna kind of get to, and we can maybe talk about his story and Stas's story of how he engaged VSM and myself and what the need was. But either of them, you wanna?
Yeah, let's. So Isaac, how did you come to us? It was pretty unique.
Okay, so basically, I've always been interested in business, and then I started getting into real estate, and then I looked into becoming an agent. Wasn't really liking that whole aspect of real estate, so I started looking at like investment companies. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I need to try to find some companies in Minnesota that I could try to work for and like get some experience. And then I searched real estate investment companies, Minnesota. VSM was the first company to pop up. And then
that's good.
That's awesome.
It is good.
Shout out Google. Unless you were using Bing or something.
No. So then went through the website, found Goran's contact information, and I got to give all my credit to Gary Vee, because what I did was I was like, Gordon,
shout out Gary Vee too.
Always.
I was like, Goran, I can work for you for free. I have some experience with YouTube. I run my own YouTube channel. I can edit your vlogs that I see you post, and then I can shoot them so you can be in them more. Sent that over. He's like, okay, let's meet. Came over, and then Goran's like, okay, let's see how you can do. So then we shot that penthouse video. What vlog is that going to be? Number
25.
Number 25.
We thought it was going to be 23, but then I shot 2 more vlogs in the meantime.
So we did that, and so that's where we are now.
Isaac's a young hustler.
Yeah.
Young hustlers are hard to find these days.
What's interesting is, he mentioned Gary Vee, Vaynerchuk, and I listen to him as well, and it's that the proximity of me to Gary and then Gary to Isaac, and Isaac connecting with me in turn, is providing me and him value, but just because we have that common person that we like or that we listen to, how important it was for us to connect. And I
went off that too. I was like, I saw you on Twitter, see that you retweeted a lot of stuff about Gary, and I was like, I can be your D-Rock, and I put it in.
Right. So that's why I was like, man, this guy's killing it. He was just like, here's what I can do, which is, we had a podcast about this, bringing and providing the value, not just saying, hey, can you hire me for blah, blah, blah. He was just like, hey, I'll work for free. Here's what I can bring to the table. And after I read that, I was like, I responded, I think, same day. I was like, yeah, let's meet. Because just like Gary said, and then when people ask him, I was like, aren't you worried that people will steal all this advice and they'll just do it? He was like, no, because 99% of people will not do anything about it. Mm-hmm. And all the things that we do, all the content we put out, and we welcome people to engage us every single day. Very few do, and you two are, a great example of people that took action, initiative to actually, do something about it. And I think, that's what that speaks volume of, who you really are, and, really, how you're going to achieve ultimate success. So it was a great step.
Does anyone else at your high school do that? Like, just reach out to CEOs of investment brokerages and stuff?
No. I got one of my friends that's like, me and him are like really involved with business, and he kind of does sales at his dad's landscaping company, but basically me and him are like the two only really business driven people. But
that's good. Less competition means more for you.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, we're gonna see a lot more of him, and he just, like I said, got done editing that the video that we did for the penthouse. So that's gonna be coming out on social media, and hopefully you'll be shooting and editing all the future ones. So
# join the journey.
Join the movement.
Join the movement. Well, I guess I thank you for your answer, and then same question to you, Stas, as far as how we got here to this point. What intrigued you?
Well, it's just, I like to learn. I like to be around self-minded people, and I'm engaged in Facebook and Google ads and all that stuff each and every day. So I started seeing this VSM company pop up all over my news feed, And I'm going, what is this? People are liking this. So I checked you guys out, and then I have a mutual buddy that you know, like you said.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm not even going to give him a shout out.
You shouted out Google, but you're not giving
right?
No, that because he's got to step his game up.
Nothing for the DJ?
No shout out.
No shout out to the DJ. So read into you guys, checked you guys out. I mean, looked and then came across Monday Motivation actually on iCloud.
Nice.
So
iTunes. Now you're here.
Now I'm here doing this on Monday Motivation.
What did you? Again, I'm not trying to toot our own horn this, but I really I wanted to get more information because this is what the purpose of what we're doing is to to basically show like-minded people that, hey, we're here, let's engage, let's work together. But what was it from the Monday Motivation, if anything specifically, say, you know what, I'm going to reach out to this person? Because just like I said, we do it every single Monday and we produce a lot of content, and only a handful of people, I think, a month engage us and say, hey, let's just talk business. We don't have to, we could be different, with different brokerages or different real estate agents. It doesn't matter. That's not, the highest thing that connects us or doesn't connect us.
Sure, absolutely. And so I listened to that, and then I looked at a couple YouTube videos that you guys have on your daily vlogs, and nobody's really doing that today. In today's market, nobody's documenting their daily journeys, because let's understand, business is tough.
Right.
And even how easy it is today, it's the toughest it's ever been, because you actually have to get out there, you have to do stuff because you have a ton of competition, and everyone thinks they're an entrepreneur today. But you got the young people like Isaac coming in too that are changing the game because they're using the new channels that are coming out each and every day. But to look at what you guys have done in such a short period of time is to put it in retrospect of how can I copy some of that, and to do the same thing as well, but also maybe do things together and bring you guys value at the same time. So I can learn more from what you guys are doing and what you guys have done and how I do things and what I have done, and collaborate that together, because as the old saying goes, two minds are better than one.
Right.
And it's a lot easier to achieve something with more than one person at a shorter amount of time than it is to do it yourself.
Right. And I mean, thank you. And that's an awesome answer. It's a great outlook. And I feel like we all share the same outlook, which is awesome. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
We're just trying to shine the bat signal out there and be like, all right,
who else is Batman?
But like, who else is, vibrating at the same frequency that we are? Who understands what we are trying to do, what we want to accomplish? Who wants the same things for themselves? So anytime someone reaches out to us based on that, we know we're probably going to be able to get along pretty well, right?
Absolutely.
Like it's fantastic for that.
Even in his initial answer to the first question was, what gets him up? Why does he do it? And he mentioned, legacy and this. Nowhere did he say, because I want to get $1 million. I want to make bank, bro. I want to drive Range Rovers. He didn't say any of that. He basically said, hey, I want to provide value. I want to build a legacy. And I think, to me, I like the phrase, purpose over profits, and finding out what one purpose is really in life is kind of, I think, the ultimate goal versus just making money. Because I feel like once you find the purpose and why you're doing something, the money will follow. And if you concentrate on that, that's where I think you achieve true success.
And realistically, too, anywhere there is value, there's money, right? It's like in real estate. If the deal's there, it's going to get funded. It doesn't matter, right?
Well, and I 100% believe that. But just to go back to my point is really that we all here are driven by purpose versus profit. But I feel like profit and money and is the byproduct, because we have such strong will and purpose to do something bigger and better. It's not all about, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to focus on, selling houses, and that's it. That's who I'm going to be, a transactional person. And you're not going above and beyond that. So
that's like how I look at it too. Like my mom was asking me questions like before I came in today. She's like, "Oh, are you getting paid for this?" I'm like, "It doesn't matter." Like it honestly, today, like the weeks to come, like it's not going to matter to me, because like I said in the email, or that thing I wrote up for you, is like, I'm thinking all macro about like this journey that I'm going to take together with VSM. And if I don't need to make like a couple $100 a month extra from VSM, like this could lead to a job or something else in the future.
There you go. He just said his own salary, under $200 a month. No, but honestly, you're so young. Take the time. Take the next 10 years and just learn and soak in as much as you can, because then once you hit 30 or 25, you can then start monopolizing everything that you've learned and get to where you want to be in half the time of everyone else.
And this is like what we were talking about today, surrounding yourself with the right people, and this is like one of the first steps I'm taking.
Yeah, I feel like it's the right step and you're on the right path. And, like he said, you got the time, a decade. And something Gary Vee talks a lot, especially to your generation, is having patience in a time where patience is very limited, because we have such crazy accessibility and our, everything is 5, 6, 7 seconds of your time, and you want everything quick and fast. And that mentality, the Snapchat mentality, transcends into business, where people come in like, oh, I just want to make a bunch of money really quick, and that's how I perceive the world. But really, patience is a big part, and we talked about this before, as far as the decade or the 15 years that it took me to get to a certain point. It was a long road, and it required a lot of patience.
Yeah, the one big breakdown that I see consistently from people who have large goals, I see it with a lot of our agents who come in and, they see a lot of the things that Goran, Ryan, and Dario are doing, where they're buying $3 million buildings and converting them into business centers to revitalize the city. And they're like, I want to do that. That's awesome. So they jump on board, and they're all go, go, go from the beginning. But again, they don't have that purpose, that line. They don't have the patience, the macro thinking. And without that, after the first couple months, you hit your first roadblock. A lot of times people bend and break. But if you don't have that long-term plan of what you're trying to accomplish, if you do have that, you're going to be able to find the fuel to push beyond that. And that's the point, is, Tony Robbins always says, people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade.
Shit. I just heard that in my book as I was going into work, and now you mention it again.
Yeah.
Fucking weird.
Yeah. But anyway, like that's a really important concept, and I think people like myself, and I'm going to maybe generalize and assume that you guys are like me too, are constantly frustrated at what you haven't accomplished yet and what you want right now. But just keeping that perspective of knowing that hunger, that thing that frustrates you when you don't have it immediately, is what's going to drive you and propel you for that long-term success that you're looking for.
That's a great point. And, to add to that is, having patience and using technology to your advantage. At times, having a two-way partnership or a three-way partnership can be, daunting task. And a lot of things that you did, 5 days ago, you forget about, or the times you've lived through, you forget about, because you're living in the now. And I've documented pretty much like my journey or our journey for the past 5-6 years through pictures, videos, and continue to do so even now to ramp it up even more on social media. But to revisit that, and I know you saw, Daniel, at our holiday party, the before VSM collage of pictures, how we started, where we all used to be 3 people around one desk, and that was it. That was the entire company and the entire business. So when you are able to put out all this content and create this body of work, when you get stuck, 5-10 years down the line, or there's a tough, role, you're like, hey, what have I done, right? You can always be like, hey, I'm going to replay where I was, and then kind of humbles you. At least it did me and did us when I was showing a lot of these videos or the pictures of before, and your perspective changes, then propels you and pushes you to do even, you know, bigger and better things.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
You know, you mentioned this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You
very accusatory.
Remember the first podcast that we did? You're like, you came into my office like, Goran, I don't like the first podcast. Just take it down. It doesn't sound good. It's not recorded. And I was like, that is the point, Daniel. We want to go to that first podcast, and if you haven't listened to it, go ahead and listen to it. You'll see how crappy it is, the quality, how like we weren't prepared. But that's not what we were thinking about, or that's not what I was thinking about. It wasn't about perfection. It was about execution and just doing it, getting over the first one, because I always had the millionth one in my head, and I needed to get to that level. And, you know.
Yeah, I think that's better to release. I still fight you on that. I still think that's the 10th anniversary podcast release. To me, that's the equivalent of like having a picture of me when I was like 14 or whatever and like fat, like, and then putting that as my profile picture. But nonetheless, we can disagree.
I think that, yeah, we can disagree. I'm right. But and people can watch or listen to the podcast, but you can see the difference between then and now. And to me, like I said, I think it's cool just to see how it evolved over time. And it was all about getting to the next one. Like Tom Brady said, he doesn't think about the Super Bowl he's in. He's just thinking about the next one.
And that's with everything. So everyone sees everyone's overnight success on social media with the Range Rovers and the Rolexes, but nobody saw their 25-year journey beforehand. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have the right mindset, it's not going to motivate you. It's going to make you depressed and put you in a closet. Because you go, hey, I can start this business, and I'm 3 months in, and I'm not a millionaire yet. So I'm just going to quit, and I'm going to move on to something else and something else and something else. Mm-hmm. You're not actually taking the time to put in the work and have the patience to build your business over the next 20 years. Because if you live in the dirt now for the first 2, 10, 5 years, whatever it takes to get you to that point, then you can start posting and, you know, motivating other people with your Range Rovers and your Rolexes. But that's what puts people out of business instantly, is because they don't become overnight successes. Right. Even though an overnight success takes 20 years.
So, Isaac, from your perspective, now when you see, things on Instagram and social media, how do you perceive that when, you know, you see people maybe your age or just a little bit older than you are? They're, you know, they look like they've made it. They have the cars, the houses, and they got the lifestyle. How do you perceive that?
Well, it's like what I always think about is, what did those people do that I wasn't doing? I like think about like what are the life experiences they have, and then I kind of compare that to myself. And I know it's like really hard. This is like a thing with teenagers. Like, we are always comparing ourselves to other people, and like I even compare myself to like you guys. I was like, what did they do when they're 18? Like, sometimes I feel like I'm not making the right steps. Then again, it's like you got to focus on what I'm gonna do or what you're gonna do, and just look at the long view. And a good thing to do is document everything. And I'm just going to say VSM is just getting started with documenting everything, like the business center. All the content that's going to come out of that place is going to be amazing.
Hashtag join the movement.
Join the movement.
Well,
you know,
thanks
one last thing before we sign off. I know we got to go. This is like double the normal podcast, but we have double the guests. Who cares? If you need that daily motivation, or maybe you're feeling stuck in a rut right now as you're listening to this, and you have access to your social media, go ahead and go back to the first thing that you posted or picture on your Facebook or Instagram and put that into perspective, just to see how far you've come and what you all have accomplished. Because sometimes you will need that reminder, and what better way than like pretty much a replay of your life through pictures or video that's already out there.
Absolutely.
Very good. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Stas, for being here.
Thanks,
Isaac. Appreciate it. Hashtag intern Isaac. Goran.
Yes, sir.
Have a week.
See you later.